If you kill me, you'll be just like everybody else.
Yeah, no. See, that just doesn't make any sense.
Showtime, a-holes.
So let's just get this out of the way real quick. We love Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Personally, it's one of my favorite movies in the MCU and a great sequel to Volume 1. It's got everything you want from it: heart, action, humor, you name it. James Gunn to us has done an incredible job with these movies and we love him for it. Well, yeah, not that. Either way, Guardians 2 is great, and one reason for it is this guy, Ego the Living Planet. And just so that we make this very clear from the get-go, this is Ego. Not this guy, this is Kurt Russell, and this is David Hasselhoff. But that's not the point right now. The point is, this is Ego. Okay, let's start from the beginning. After the opening battle of Guardians 2, we meet the Tiny Man when he saves the Guardians from the attack of the Sovereign.
You suck, Psylocke.
They crash land on Berhard, Ego follows them, and we find out that he's actually Peter's dad.
After all these years, I've found you.
Ego invites them to him, I guess? Peter doesn't trust him, but Gamora convinces Peter that he should give him a chance.
Family reunion, yay!
They enter his seamanship and off they go to Ego, where we get this handy PowerPoint presentation that tells us what he's all about. He explains to us that his self-assessed purpose in life is to venture out into the universe and find another life. But later we find out that
It was all so disappointing.
because of that, Ego adjusts his purpose a little bit and we're introduced to...
The expansion.
Okay, now this is where things get interesting. See, Ego needs Peter. Because of course he does. I mean, otherwise there would be no movie. But the question is, why does Ego need Peter? Okay, so after Ego reworked his purpose of existence, he figured that rather than meeting all life in the universe, he wants to be it. There's just one problem.
A single celestial doesn't have enough power for such an enterprise. But two celestials, well now, that just might do.
This is why Ego needs Peter. Because
Out of all my spawn, only you carried the connection to the light.
okay, cool, problem solved, everything's fine and dandy, isn't it? Well, no. Obviously not, because otherwise you wouldn't be watching this video. Okay, so what's the problem now? Well, it's right here. After Ego revealed his true intentions to Peter, but accidentally frees him from his control when he tells him how his mom truly died.
What?
They have a little argument, and Ego punishes Peter for it.
I wanted to do this together. And I suppose you'll have to learn by spending the next 1,000 years as a battery.
And here it is, right here. You see it? Ego uses Peter as a battery. We can even clearly see A, Ego draining power from him, and B, see how Peter's power is used to kickstart the expansion, i.e. grow Ego's semen. And that's the problem. This just doesn't make any sense. So here's what we know about Ego. He 1 is a planet, celestial if you will, and 2, there is some sort of magic light inside of him. The way that Ego talks about the light though makes it seem like the light itself is not part of Ego per se, rather than just inside his brain. And of course, Ego uses this light as some form of power for all the planet making and universe impregnating business he's got going on. He also states that
Death will remain a stranger to both of us, as long as the light burns within the planet.
And assuming Ego's not lying here, this will be our first fact to remember. As long as the light exists, Ego and Peter are immortal. So far so good. Ego's goal is the expansion. His problem, as shown in the movie, is that for the expansion, his light alone just doesn't cut it. This is why he needs Peter. Because Peter is Ego's son, it would make sense that he would have some sort of light inside of him, i.e. the missing power source that Ego is looking for. And Peter even shows this connection to the light multiple times throughout the movie. So Ego would have had everything he needed to fulfill his goal, but as it turns out, Peter's not into it, and during the following fight, Ego then drops this line.
You kill me, you'll be just like everybody else.
For the sake of this video, this will be our second fact. And so far it actually supports the first one, but it also does a bit more than that. It necessitates the fact that Peter actually cannot have his very own light. Otherwise, according to fact number 1, Peter would still be immortal, even if Ego died. Now luckily for us, we only need one more thing to make our case bulletproof. From what we've learned from fact 1 and fact 2, we can follow that if Peter has no light, Ego cannot use him as a battery. But right here comes our third fact into play, and I promise this will be our last one. We see Ego using Peter as a battery, so that can only lead us to one of two conclusions. Either fact 1 or fact 2 must be a lie. After all, Ego only mentioned fact 2 as he was about to die, and realizing that might have led him to this desperate attempt to turn Peter around. But before we get to that, let's see if fact 1 could even be a lie. The movie dictates that Peter's immortality would come specifically from the light, and not his celestial heritage. The movie justifies this by having Peter be immortal because of Ego's light. If Peter is only immortal because of Ego's light, this means he cannot have his own source of light. Therefore though, Ego would also not be able to use Peter as a battery. But here we go again. We saw Ego doing just that. So fact 1 cannot be a lie, which means that it must be fact 2. So let's have a look at that. If Peter would not be like everyone else once Ego dies, i.e. being immortal, he would be because of the light. That means one of two things. Either Peter must have his very own source of light, or the light actually doesn't die with Ego. Both ways lead us to the same final conclusion. Peter must still have his light. What's weird though, and that actually seems to be an early indicator of the problem, is that throughout the first half of the movie, Peter always seems to be encouraged by Ego to tap into his light, Ego's light. Not Peter's, Ego's. Because for some weird reason, the movie both does and doesn't want Peter to have his own light. Not a connection to the light, mind you, which would be Ego's light. Peter definitely has that, but his very own source of light within him. Just like Ego, but this time inside Peter. On the one hand, in the battery scene, Ego clearly uses Peter's light. But on the other hand, throughout the whole movie, Peter always uses Ego's light and even says that
he needs my genetic connection to the light to help destroy the universe.
Again, connection to the light, Ego's light. This double logic behind Ego, confusing as it is, actually just comes up at one point. The problem of that though, is that it's kind of a big point.
If you kill me, you'll be just like everybody else.
What's so wrong with that? Well, this very sentence. We saw Ego using Peter's light, i.e. Peter has his own source of light. I.e. if Ego and his light die, that just doesn't affect Peter and his light whatsoever. But what do you guys think? Do you think that Ego just simply lied and Peter still has his very own source of light? I mean, after all, he is still part celestial, and learning how to cope with and control those powers could make for an interesting arc going forward. We did see Peter's light fade away after Ego died, but that could just be Peter believing Ego's lie and actually thinking that now he has lost his powers, even though deep inside of him they are still very much there. Or do you think that it was really all just a mistake? Screenwriting is hard, and Gunn and his crew certainly had to balance a lot of plot points at the same time. Maybe there was an earlier version of the script where this problem didn't exist at all, but it was too complicated, so they had to change it, creating a flaw but then also missing it? We don't know. But we also don't want to blame anybody specifically here. I mean, as we said, we love the movie either way. It just kind of bugs me that in a movie that is otherwise so good in so many other points and filled with such great details throughout, that they would miss something that just feels so big. But we'll see what the future brings. As for now, we'll continue to vibe to the tunes of Volume 2 and patiently wait for a brighter future with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Mantis, look out!
Hey guys, me again. First of all, thank you all so much for watching. I know we're kind of late with this one since the movie is about 3 years old at this point, but now that we've finally gotten around to this side of YouTube, making this video was a ton of fun. We actually have a bunch of ideas just like this one down our pipeline, so if you'd like to do us another video on the MCU, consider subscribing because we're already working on it. By the way, the we in all of that is my buddy Alex and I. Hey, how's it going? My name is Chris. Leave us a comment and tell us what you think about the theory. Do you think we're onto something here, or did we read way too deep into this one? Oh yeah, and if you liked the video, consider leaving a like since apparently it helps with the algorithm. Yeah, I don't know, you don't have to, but you'd be a lot cooler if you did. Okay, that's all we got for now. Again, thank you so much for watching, and till next time when we Canon Cosmic. Yeah, we still need to work on that one. Goodbye!